Hey, hey, how you going, man? Yep, sounds all right. I'll
Okay.
turn you up just slightly.
Yeah, my
You
mic
should,
is kind of shitty, honestly. But we'll...
no worries, no, it should be fine. I mean, it sounds clear enough, so I've
Okay,
just,
cool.
yeah, it should be all right. Awesome, man. Cool. Did you write down a set of notes? You could just copy paste them over, or did you just do that? Oh, you did just copy paste some of them over.
Yeah,
Nice.
they're not the greatest notes, but they're just kind of what I'm doing ish, I guess.
Cool. I mean, that's it. That's it, right? Like, you've been playing by feel. You've made it to kind of pretty damn good MMR, man. That's Diamond 2, right? 4K MMR. I believe that's
Yeah,
Diamond 2. That's
yeah,
that's awesome to do that with very reflexive play, reactive by feel, intuitive. It means you've worked a lot on your by feel reactions and stuff. So there's going to be a lot of good intuition, good on the fly reactions. I'm sure you're good at certain things, but there is a lack of like conscious decision making, right? And like knowing our game plan, really like tightening it up, getting those crazy levels of consistency to the point where our reactions can be super well defined. And a lot of players, they would never make it as far as you, especially if they weren't Zerg, because they need that structure earlier. You're probably already one of these players who's just naturally a bit more by feel with how you learn things, which is awesome, but also we're Zerg, right? As a Zerg
yeah.
player, we can react more. That's just the entire way Zerg production works. You've got to be building drones at certain times, army at other times, and all that sort of stuff. So as we kind of add out more of a game plan, we can start to hit consistent situations way more often and do all of that. So I'm going to just clear all of these other notes. We don't really need all that stuff from
Okay.
my info packet. I'll just get rid of it. Okay. So we get current game plan / notes. And the more you write things down, the more you kind of actually realize like there's points in the game where you don't know what the fuck you're doing. That's like the cool thing about writing down a build order, or like you're like, oh, I struggle against Phoenix or whatever the thing might be. And the moment you're like, okay, cool, what do I do when I see that? And you'll realize a lot of it's like not defined. And because of that, some games you'll have a really good reaction where things just happen to click, and other games it will kind of fall all over the place
Yep.
because it's not like a set response. So we're kind of leaving things up to chance a little bit. So with a bit of practice, that's going to be awesome. The last thing, since this is the first coaching session we're doing together, mechanics. So there was a list of questions there in the document. First of all, do you control group your eggs?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. So you're like every time you build units, control click the eggs, add them to your control group.
Yep.
Do you use the army key, select all army, or not very
No.
much?
No,
Not at
I don't
all?
use it.
Good. Awesome. Very good. All right, that's one of the reasons why we made it as far as we did without build orders. Because
Yeah.
if we're using the F2 key and we're not using build orders, I think we would have capped out a bit earlier on the ladder.
Yeah, that button used to piss me off too much when I first started playing, where everybody would just run around. So it's like I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah, that's awesome that you've already gotten rid of that habit. A lot of people struggle with that. If they get like a year, 2 years, 3 years, just
Oh yeah.
relying on that, it becomes harder and harder to break the habit. Control shift is not that important. Shift deselection. Okay, so do you like use deselecting to like kind of spread zerglings over the map? Like where you say, hey, everyone go here, deselect a ling, everyone go there, deselect a ling, control one
Oh.
to
Oh
remake the
yeah,
control
yeah,
group?
yeah. Like if I'm trying to like scout a third or fourth, like do I like click one and then go back?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, I do that. Yeah, I can do
Awesome.
that.
Same thing for putting workers back on gas. Say if you got to like pull all the workers off a base because there's like a Hellion drop or something, and
Yep,
then
I do
you
that.
you click on the gas, deselect three, click on the other gas,
Yep.
etc. Awesome.
Yep.
Good, good, good. Fantastic. So mechanically, these are like the two most important mechanics: control grouping eggs and using that for like, especially as a Zerg, setting up ling spotters to see when their attacks move out, see when
Yeah.
they're expanding. I mean, how many games have all Zerg players lost to Terrans where they forget to do that? And they're winning fights, and like, cool, I should be winning. And they realize like at some point the Terrans been like, let's just build 4 command centers on 4 different bases on location, turn them all into planetaries, and you don't realize till they roll up and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
This is suddenly a huge problem, right? Whereas
For
having a
sure.
single Zergling at each of those bases would have completely blocked this. So that's awesome. You're already using those. Are you using like kind of standard hotkeys?
Um, yeah, like just however it comes for the. I made the camera hotkeys like F1, F2, F3, and F4 instead of
Cool.
like F5 through 8.
And you use them a lot?
Yeah. Well, I use
Like,
them. I try to use them as much as I can. I could probably be better at it for sure.
how many like do you use, and what do you use them for? Is it just your bases, or
Yeah, just my bases. Yeah.
first 4 hotkeys, first 5, first 8? How many do you do?
Yeah. First 4.
Okay, cool. That's pretty good. I use like 6 personally, first 5 bases and a rally point, but as long as you got the first 3 or 4 bases, that is the most important, right? That is
What?
the
Yeah.
most important.
Do you try to keep a rally point for your army at a certain spot the whole game?
It kind of moves around, yeah. Like
Oh, okay.
it'd usually be kind of like just in front of my natural, then it would be like just in front of my third, maybe. But
And
you
you'll
know,
keep changing the rally point hockey camera. I mean.
um, yeah, sometimes, yeah, sometimes I don't bother. As it gets later, I mean, you're control grouping eggs, so it doesn't matter too much past the early
Yeah.
game anyway.
Hmm.
There are some times where I will, but yeah, it's not that important. Like overlords, obviously if you build overlords, you should always be trying to click those to the back so they're not all just sitting out front your base ready to get killed by marines or stalkers or whatever. But yeah, this seems pretty good. I think mechanically we should be fine. Lastly, how do you inject your hatcheries?
I use the space bar and then I just swipe and
Awesome.
inject.
Easy peasy,
Uh,
no worries. That's one of the most
I feel like
common methods I think these
I feel
days,
like
and
when I
it's
do the
not
other
bad.
one, sorry, when I tried doing the other one where I like keep all the queens on one thing, I feel like it gets screwed up a lot.
Yep. Yeah, especially if you're trying to just kind of hold down shift or this or that, your queens start running all over the place. I think there's a technique to make that still work, but I've never used that method. So
Yeah.
whenever this comes up in coaching, I'm like, I can't even you got to go look up a loco video or something if you want to learn that one. So I think what you're doing is totally fine. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Control group stealing. Do you use that at all? Do you even know what it
Yeah.
is?
Yeah, I use it.
Is it your default, or you just use it once in a while using the alt key?
It's my default, but I just learned it like maybe like 2 weeks ago. So,
Okay.
but I would say that I use it most of the time now, though.
This is awesome. So you might be really loose in your game plan, but your mechanics, from what I, at least from these answers to the questions, pretty tight. Obviously, we always, that's technique. Like that's like the tools we're using. Obviously, we can always use those tools better, those techniques better.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll get sloppy.
But everyone is, right? Especially the more pressure that's on us. The more shit that goes wrong in a game, the more mistakes happen. But that's
Yeah,
awesome. That means we can focus pretty much purely on build orders, game plans, and starting to get you to be a little bit more like methodical with, I guess, like when you encounter a problem, thinking about, hey, how do I solve it? You know, like whether that be just, oh, I fucked up my build order. It was just really loose and I was supply blocked for 2 minutes. Or it could be, you know what? I actually don't know what the hell to do if I scout a dark shrine. So, and I've got to write up a little list of how I can branch off my regular build, deal with that, and then get back to the regular game plan, the regular build. So, starting to think of our play as it's a build is not just a thing we stupidly follow, right? It's a tree, it's an organic thing, it changes. So we start out with the trunk of the tree, that's just the framework we follow. It's kind of the most standard game plan. And then, our opponent's going for a 2-base Immortal Sentry all in. Obviously, we have to have a little branch off, a reaction when we spot that. Stop at 50 drones, make tons of Ravagers and Zerglings and Roaches, engage like so. And then if you hold it, you go back to your normal game plan, right? So that's kind of going to be the process that we want to encourage you to really just make a key part of your play. Is every time you encounter a problem or some shit's going bad, you say, that felt uncomfortable. Let's come up with a list of a couple dot points. It could be the most basic things. It could be, if I need to build spores versus an oracle opening, let's remember to take my gas a bit later because I'm going to have less minerals because I'm chewing up drones to make spore crawlers. Simple things like that. It could be something that small. It could be something much more obvious and big as well. So awesome. Let's start out by diving into the matchups. Which one, excuse me, do you feel is your weakest or your worst?
So my lowest percentage is versus Protoss, but I've really been struggling against Terran. I feel like I have no clue what to even do. So I think I want to do Terran.
Okie doke, cool. It's a very momentum focused matchup, and a matchup where if we don't have confidence in our early defense, we never set ourselves up for the late game. So a lot of players get stuck with trying to surround Hellions with Zerglings, massive gamble, not reliable, never spreading enough creep, never getting enough queens, and kind of just trying to win with a big mid-game attack because they're not spreading creep or building enough drones. And as the game goes past a certain point, it'll be bad.
Yeah, I always feel like I hold, and then but I don't realize that I'm like behind. And then I just like keep wondering why I keep losing.
Very common. Awesome, man. All right, well, let's get in. Hop into chat channel Pig or Piggy. So in game, don't go into your groups menu. Just click in your chat. So your chat box in the very bottom, kind of just to the right of the middle of your screen. Go /join space pig and
Yeah,
forward slash
I think I'm
join space
actually
pig.
already in. I'm already in there actually. It's Hobie.
Can you shoot me an invite? You should see me in there.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Grab a replay of a TVZ, any recent one.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I
load
don't.
it up.
I couldn't figure out which was a good one because I feel like I just do some bad things that I don't do in other games. But we'll just.
If you want, we could just start by giving you a new build order. If you're kind of lost in this matchup, we might as well maybe just reset.
It might be a good idea because I feel like I do different things in every game. Just trying like this one Swarm Host that I was going to show you, but then like the next one's just like Hydra Ling Bane and just getting destroyed. So like it's up to you. Whatever you think is best.
Okay, cool. All right, let's choose a build order. Make me the party leader.
Okay. Sorry.
Awesome. Whoa. There we go. Cool. So let me just check my servers. It's on best match, so hopefully it puts this on US West or something like that.
Okay.
We'll see. Just let me know if it's super laggy at the start. So we're going to start a game here with no opponent. Click continue game at the very start.
Okay.
And yeah, because it'll be like victory. And this is the best way to just get mechanical practice in, build order practice. Whenever you're trying a new build, always good to like hop in, just play the first 5-6 minutes of a build a few times like this.
Okay.
So that you can understand the framework outside of reacting. Because it's really shit to like learn how to react.
Hit return to game?
Yep,
okay.
Return to game and start building drones and Overlord and all the normal stuff. Let's go. All right, just going to pause. Awesome. Okay, so we're set up, and this is the same thing you can do to practice as well.
Okay.
Let's start with ZvT, and let's start with choosing a composition. This is not about what's good, it's about what you want to get good at. It's about what excites you. It's about what you find fun. Do you like Roach Ravager? Do you like Roach Hydra? Do you like Ling Bane Muta? Ling Bane Hydra? What's your jam?
I've just been doing Ling Bane Hydra, but I think any of them are fun really. So we can just do Ling Bane Hydra though.
All right, we'll do Ling Bane Hydra as our compositional goal. Always good to have an idea of what we're going to do. If you ever find you're like, well, against Protoss, I like to go Roaches, but if they're open with a Depths, I like to go Hydras. Whenever you end up with this, like, where you're... Sorry, can you hear me? Discord!
Sorry, my headphones suck.
Oh, no, that's all right. I think it was just Discord pooping or something. Who knows? I'm all good now?
Yep, we're good.
Awesome.
So we can do Ling Bane Hydra, though. I find that pretty fun, even though I lose with it.
No worries. I mean, Ling Bane Hydra is pretty generic, and it's always good to have this idea of the composition before you even get into the match. Most players, they always like, when do I go Roaches? When do I go Hydras? When do I go this? When do I go that? Fuck it, choose before the game starts. You want to have that idea of this is what I do most of the time, and then if I really need to react, if my opponent's going mass carrier, I'm not going to make the Banelings maybe or something. Like only adjust when we really have to, rather than adjusting all the time and basing our play, because often you won't have the information in a StarCraft match, right? So if our whole game plan in terms of like our composition hinges on us knowing what our opponent's doing, we're going to be fucked whenever we're confused by what our opponent's doing. Our build's going to be shit because we're going to be really unsure if we're doing the right thing. Always better to have like a baseline where we're just like, we just do this. If we're confused about what's going on, we just do this. We go for Hydra Bane. So this is going to be a good idea. That's our composition. So we want to open really heavy, probably Queen Ling Bane. You're happy. I assume you're happy to want to learn sort of kind of a reactive macro style here, right? You don't want to be like super aggressive.
No, I like just playing like a long game. I've been trying to work on like Hive Tech, so I've been trying to play long games.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to link up a few resources for you to check out later. But basically, hey, I typed Rule of One Gas into Google and it auto-suggested pig. I like that. Good job, Google. This build order's been Googled enough times at this point. It's finally doing its job. Fantastic. There's actually an even better Team Liquid strategy article. Oh, that's not it. Whatevs. We'll just use the spawning tool link. That'll do. Awesome. So you can read through that one afterwards. Okay. Essentially, what we're going to do is I'll walk you through it here, and there might be a few little differences to it. The fundamental idea here is we are going to saturate 3 mineral lines fully without taking more than that original gas geyser.
Okay.
So the idea here is we can defend everything from Terran for the first 6 minutes of the game with just queens and zerglings.
Okay.
We need to be confident in that. We're going to build a shit ton of queens. Just by default, part of our build keeps us really safe. We're not going to worry about scouting because we're just getting used to the economics, okay? As you get better, we'll do like a 4-minute Overlord or 3-minute 30 Overlord sacrifice every game. For now, we don't care because we just want to get the framework of the build down, okay?
Okay.
So,
am I taking drones off gas after speed, or just leave it in there?
absolutely. 3 off gas or 2 off gas. If you want to leave 1 in, that's fine. And we'll put back on at 3 minutes 30 is how we'll do that. So,
Okay. Cool.
I'll walk you through it. And yeah, we'll just do it. There's nothing to react to. So this is just like a nice training wheels. We'll just go for like 5-6 minutes. You ready?
Okay. Yep.
Awesome. All right. So let's get that Overlord going. Obviously, like we'll be a few seconds behind because we were clicking continue game at the start, but that's fine. We're just kind of getting the order of everything down anyways.
Okay.
So normally you go 17 hatch, 18 gas, 17 pool, yeah?
Yeah.
Awesome. Good. I like it. Keep it up. So we'll be going for that once again here. And yeah, that should be good. So one more drone. Let's get a drone down to that natural right away. Yep. Good stuff. All right. So with the gas, we don't take it till about a minute 8 or a minute 10 normally. So it's normally these drones, as they pop out of the eggs, you can actually rally them to the gas, both of these cocoons. So that one that just popped out can be the gas and the other one the pool.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Oh, yes. Oh my God. Oh.
Thank you so much for the support. Casper with the Twitch Prime sub, as well as Baskili with the 11-month resub. Yeah, and just do your standard thing. I'll shut up for a little bit, just let you get in your rhythm. You know, standard 2 queens, build 4 or 6 zerglings to defend the imaginary Reaper, which we're imagining is going to be coming towards us. And, you know, just all the normal stuff.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. All right. Casper, welcome to Pigsty. Baskili as well. Unadopted Puppy, thank you so much for that 10-month resub before. Much love, as well as Reg Dab just before, and Captain Clutch. Thank you, guys.
I usually rally
ladies,
this
gents.
down here. Is that fine?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Beautiful. So next up will be link speed in a little bit and pulling dudes off gas. Should be very nice. And the next little part of the build is going to be in just a little bit. We're going to be going for a third base at about 32, 33 supplies. Let's send a drone down there now. Let's say 32 third base. Now, in this map, we'd normally go for the other third. That's okay. Doesn't matter.
Oh,
All
whoops.
right, that's fine. So you immediately start a queen after that third base. So we queued up a few more drones. That's going to lay the queen. It's the queen and then an overlord as well.
Okay.
Yeah, because we always hit a slight supply block on 36, but the faster we do that, the better. And now we just go back to droning for now. Awesome. So just keep droning. After this overlord pops, we'll be able to build a whole bunch of drones, and then we'll start an extra overlord or 2 straight away as well, and just keep droning for the meanwhile. And creep now is a good idea. That's okay. We got an inject on the natural, but normally we would start creep there with our second inject worth.
Okay.
I'll write that down here for you.
Yeah.
Don't
I
worry
feel like
about it.
I always get supply block there too.
Yeah. Yep. Drones, overlords. Fantastic. This is looking really good. And you'll see now, time to put back on gas, about 3 minutes 30. So let's send a few drones from our natural down to our main and fix up that saturation.
Oh.
Or build a few, however you prefer to do it, because your main's undersaturated. That's okay. It's fine. And you want to start building extra queens. So once you've got both main and natural saturated, a single gas back on mining, that's when you start building queens nonstop. So from here, it's constant queens for a little bit, basically 2 rounds of queens. So let's start a queen in the main as well, and let's get that going. All right, so I'm going to pause real quickly. We're doing awesome. And this is not going to be a perfect build order. Do you have a second monitor?
I don't.
No worries. Tab out to your document. Let's take a look at it. So I'm gonna write some stuff down. So basically, it's a normal pull off gas at ling speed. I'm just gonna write it down here because it's a little bit different the way I'm telling you to do it than what I have written in that other guide. The other guide has heaps of other info though. It's got a YouTube video showing so you can look at some more details. But basically, 32 third hatch. And then I'm gonna do this indented so these kind of go together. It's really good to chain certain things together in a build. So it's like third hatch, and then we lose a supply from building the hatch, right? Because we lose that drone, 31 queen, and then that's going to take us to 33 because the queen's 2 supply, 33 overlord. So it's important because if we don't drop that queen and then that overlord right after we start that hatch, it's easy to just go, oh, let's just queue up drones, cool. And then we go, oh shit, I forgot my third queen. Oh, let's start that. Oh, I'm supply blocked. Shit. So if we remember, like straight into the queen, straight into the overlord, we hit a few seconds of supply block, but it's not too bad. So that's a real nice efficiency thing that'll make this opening very smooth. Little note. So I'm going to write notes that will become automatic very quickly, separate from the build. And that is second inject at natural. So, sorry, let's say after first inject, natural queen becomes creep queen. Now, I notice you've got a few queens on control group number 5. Do you put all your queens on that, or are they like your creep/defense queens?
Yeah, just my creep defense queens.
Awesome. So you can start anytime you get new queens, you're switching from an inject queen to a creep queen, throw them on that hotkey 5. This is one of the most important things in this matchup. So the fact that you're already used to using a creep queen control group is amazing. That's awesome. This is going to make learning this so much easier. So 33 overlord, etc., etc. What do we do from there? We just drone whenever nothing's written down. And then what was the next bit? It was 3 minutes 30 back on gas. And then at about 3:45, and that is at natural at 2 base saturation, right? So basically, when you're at 16 on both base plus 3 on gas, or at least the drone's building for that, what do we start? 6 more queens. So basically, non-stop queen production until we have like 9 queens total. So basically, 2 rounds of queens. So let's just write this as 2 rounds of queens. So basically, we'll start 2 queens. Our third hatch will finish a few seconds later. We can start a queen on that one as well. And then as those queens pop out, we bring them all to the front, start another round of queens. And that means that if a Hellbat timing hits, even if it's a real big one, we'll often have 9 queens for the later Hellbat timings, good 6 or 7 queens for the earlier ones.
Okay. So we're trying to... So for my defensive queens, we're going to try to have like 6 total? And then my 3 on my hatches, or?
Yeah. And if you see something really scary, you can grab the injecting queens and bring them over as well. If you see like the Marauder Hellbat, something really scary like that, we're like, oh God, this guy's really going all out. Then definitely you can. But most traditional timings, you'll be able to defend with just those queens at the front real easy. Yeah.
So should we try not to go crazy with creep at the beginning too, so that we have
Dude, that's the best question. Perfect. I was about to write in your notes, only put down 3 to 4 tumors until after like 5 minutes 30, where they're not really committing to anything. Then you can go ham on creep because we need that transfuse. So yeah, like some games, if my opening's a little bit slow, sometimes I only put down 2 creep tumors and I just start spreading in 2 directions just to make sure I got tons of transfuse ready. Because the number of times people have died to just being like, you've got 6 queens, each with 40 energy, no transfuses, and you're like, oh shit. 7 creep tumors is not that important that early. As long as you keep your tumors alive, just having 2 or 3 tumors going early will really get you well set up. I like your overlord spread, by the way, as well. It's looking pretty nice. We definitely could potentially have the ones pushed out the middle a little bit more just to see like Hellions rotating a little bit earlier, but otherwise we're looking really good there.
Okay, yeah, I kind of don't really know where to put them, to be honest. I just kind of randomly throw them places. I just try to like check around my bases so I can see like drops and then try to see their third. So if you want to tell me exactly where to put them, it might be helpful too.
I think against Protoss and against Terran, you can kind of follow the same thing, whether it's Adepts or Hellions, it's the same threat. It's like these mobile harassment units that can dart in and kill a lot of workers, right? So we just want to see them at least a screen or so ahead of time. So like with this third base, right, you can look at your mini-map if we go back in game and you can see like, oh, we need like an overlord to the left of that third hatch, right? So we should have like we should have like an overlord down to the left of that. We should have this overlord that's kind of above it further to the left because there's like a big gray area we can't see on that mini-map. And then we should like, basically you just want to have like usually 3 overlords out front, your natural and third, giving you like a real nice ring of vision so you can see that stuff ahead of time. If your opponent runs in with a Viking, we don't want them to be too far out, so we want to be able to pull them back. If opponents go in 2-star Phoenix or an Archon drop, we might want to pull them back. That's all advanced adjustments, though. For now, if we think about it, what about a Hellion YOLO, the 4GG? I'm going to dive my Hellions in and burn your Mineral Iron. You're going to have Zerglings always behind your Queens. Never run into the Hellions off creep, but if they try to run past your Queens, your Zerglings are a fishing net, okay? Okay. They're there just to be spread out. As long as you don't clump them up in a line, on creep, Zerglings can really slow Hellions down and kind of stop them getting past, and that'll allow your Lings. So at about 4 minutes or so, whenever we feel that threat, and that can be a little bit by feel, so I'm gonna put a squiggly line and say, about 4 minutes, go up to 12 to 16 Lings. Some players feel more comfortable. They're like, I like going 20 Lings. They're like, I clump my Lings all the time. They get roasted by a Hellion volley, and I've only got 4 left, and then I lose all my drones. If you're more comfortable with 20, that's cool. Make this build your own. As long as the key goal is still to saturate that third mineral line as quickly as possible, because if we can get those minerals up, we can then explode into gases all at once a little bit later. Okay. So we're going to get to that point in the near future. At the moment, we're going to hop back in game in about 20 seconds. We're going to have to build a bunch more overlords because we've got none in production and we've just hit our supply block on 66. It's not a bad supply block. We've just hit it. And then as you get your third mineral line fully saturated, which we're not too far away from, that's when we're going to do taking the next 5 gas geysers all at once. And this takes a bit of getting used to. So what you're going to need to do is the technique on taking the gases is going to be, first step, reset rally points to their own hatcheries. Okay? Mm-hmm. Take all gases and then put all the extra drones on each extractor. And this keeps you busy. This takes a lot of APM for a short period. If you're in the middle of being harassed, you're not going to get around to doing this. You're going to bank a lot of minerals. That's fine. When you're first getting used to this build, it is common to bank 2,000 minerals. That does not mean you're failing. It means you're learning. If that happens, we drop a bunch of extra macro hatcheries. That's fine. It's totally okay. You have a sick mineral count because what wins battles in Zerg versus Terran against Bio? It's just having a shitload of Zerglings with some Banelings with them. That's 90% of Zerg versus Terran battles is just your Zergling count. So if we can get that mineral income up, it's going to be awesome. Okay. Awesome. Let's get back in game. 3, 2, 1. Overlords. So because your economy builds so fast, you often will get to this point where you're building like 7 overlords at a time. You just queued up 3, not enough. Yeah, you want to go fucking ham on it, man. It's a crazy amount of mineral income you build. So this is awesome. Let's build a few more Zerglings and keep building Queens. So a few more Zerglings for our net and keep building Queens in a little bit. And yeah, this is looking good, looking real nice.
You said make Zerglings? Sorry.
Yeah, yep. About 8 more Lings is perfect. And from there, you can go and go back to droning. So we built 22 Zerglings. That's a few too many. That's fine. But check it out. Our third's almost saturated. So let's keep our injects going, keep our overlords going and stuff. But as that third gets 6 to 16 plus workers, we need to take the gases. So remember to take the gases. We reset the rally points perfect. And then we take all the gas geysers. We bounce between the bases, taking the gases at the same time as resetting the rally points. And then we come back in a little bit and let all these extra drones go on it. Now, a lot of players start to see red numbers on those hatcheries and they freak out and they go, oh, I've got enough drones. Nuh-uh. You're going to use a ton of drones on these gases. So keep pumping out these drones. It's way better to go too many drones than too few. Right now, we do not have enough workers. Yeah. And this is something we always underestimate when we're first getting used to it, is just how many workers are going to get chewed up by taking those gas geysers. Awesome. So now we should have plenty of workers coming out. Let's go double Evo chamber, lair, and Baneling nest. Now we accidentally stopped at 6 queens. Let's build a few more. Normally, we're kind of past the point where it's really worth adding those in, but let's just build them because normally we would have built them earlier. Okay. And let's assume we've defended any pressure. Let's keep dropping creep tumors. And the most important thing is to always spread creep in front of your third and towards wherever your fourth base is. Getting creep in front of your fourth is what allows you to defend all the important pushes in the mid game of TVZ. Okay. All right, yeah. So we can cancel one queen and get the lair going. So we're going to get the lair, the Baneling Nest, and the Evos all at the same time. And guess what? You're floating 2k minerals. So drop double macro hatch in the main. It feels wrong. Don't worry, I did this for the first 6 months of Legacy of the Void.
When am I supposed to do lair in general?
Same time as the Evo Chambers and Baneling Nest. When you're first learning this, it's very late for all of these. It's basically after you take those gases and when we have the APM to go, okay, I've got a spare moment to breathe. All right, drop them all at once. So it's just when you start banking the money. But it's low priority because heavy queens, heavy lings, and saturating our bases quickly is the important part of our build. So what you're going to find is as you get better at this build, you're going to get your lair, your upgrades, your Baneling Nest earlier and earlier every game as you improve until it actually comes down at a tight timing. But the way we learn this build is we don't really prioritize it. And a fast fourth base should be down as well, sorry. So whenever you get the money, you drop that fourth base and that macro hatch really early. Often it's around the same time you're taking the gases.
Okay.
Yeah. It's all about getting 5 hatcheries up and injecting the shit out of them. Now, here's a cool little thing. See how your macro hatches are finishing in your main base? I want you to send your creep queens in there. And when they finish, we are going to queue up all of their energy into injects across those 2 hatcheries. And a lot of people think with Ling Bane you need to inject 4 or 5 hatcheries at a time. You do not. You just need to do 1 round of queuing up extra injects on your macro hatch or your 4th base when it finishes. And that'll give you, it's basically a fountain of lava for the rest of the game if you queue those up.
Okay, that's a great idea.
Yeah. Because injecting 5 hatcheries every 30 seconds, it's a waste of APM. It takes too much time.
Yeah.
Awesome, dude. Awesome. So you can feel the amount of money. We're about to max out. Let's get on top of that money, get on top of that spending. And this is one of the things, right? The first month of learning this build, you will very rarely go below 1,000 minerals in the mid game, and you'll be like, "God damn it, do I suck at macroing or what?" It's just the way this build works. It's fine. You'll find the ability to spend that money as you get better at it. You know. So you'll find a real rhythm with this build. It's about if they do a pressure, you have so much shit, you jump on it, you go, get the fuck out of here. And you keep spreading creep. So it's don't let them interfere with you asserting map control and map dominance because you don't have fast tech and you don't have fast upgrades. So if you let them push back your creep, put you under pressure whilst having faster upgrades and then build up to a big maxed out push, you're probably going to get wrecked at that point, right? We should have creep 80% of the way across the map. With this build, we win. Our win condition is getting creep knocking on their doorstep. We can do Lingbane counterattacks, we can do run bys, but most of all, up until the really big fights, we're always basically just rolling over their pushes with a horde of Zerglings. Obviously, always having some Banelings mixed in is good. Don't do the thing where you make 30 slow Banelings and only have 10 Zerglings versus a few Stim Marines. That's a great way to give your opponent a free trade of just picking off a billion Banelings, but always have some Banelings mixed in. So you can see here we could make a solid 60 Banelings and roll over just about anything our opponent has. And yeah, you're already going for Hydras at your own rate. So you could do the exact same build with Mutas. You can do the exact same build with something else. If you're playing against Mech, I usually would advise Roach Hydra, but it comes down to your own preference. Some people like to play still the Baneling Hydra style, especially if it's a Battle Mech style. Hydra Bane can be pretty good against it.
Okay.
Awesome. So what are a few other little notes? If you see, bam, we're going to pause since this scenario is pretty much useless at this point.
Yeah, when should I have made the Hydra Den with the Bane Nest? I didn't even hear when you said make the Bane. I should have turned my sounds off. It was like Queens talking.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, just turn your game sounds down a little bit in future. That's fine. Who knows? It might be a little bit too loud in general. In game when you're playing, it might be a bit shocking sometimes, some of those alerts you get. Just whenever you find the room for it. So I'm going to leave that super up to you with the Hydra Den timing. If you've got enough money, it's fine. But it's not a priority super fast. Any early pressure, it's not going to help you. But we do want to get those upgrades ready, right? We don't want them too late. And we've generally got a late lair. So remember, it's Lair, Evo Chambers, and Baneling Nest all go down just at some point when we have the time and the money. So that's going to be lower priority, though, than simply building drones, taking all of our gases, taking a fast 4th base and macro hatch. Okay. So that's going to work out really nicely. So Gonna write a few more notes here, and we can hop out of this game. If there is anyone who's about 3.5k MMR Terran player here who'd like to hop into a practice game against us in chat, please do let us know if anyone's in that range, because we'd like someone who's a little bit lower than Hobie here to play against, because we're still just learning the build. So we don't want someone who's going to be microing their Reaper with every single one of their 300 APM or anything crazy, but we just want to have an opponent just so we can get a feel for this and then crush someone, hopefully with the overwhelming macro. Baskili, that would be perfect. Please hop into chat channel Pig or Piggy on the NA server. That would be fantastic. 3.4k MMR is amazing. All right, so at 4 minutes, we'll add a few lings. At 3 base saturation, what do we do at 3 base saturation? Off the top of your head. Pop quiz.
3 queens.
That's 2 base saturation. So 3 base saturation when that third mineral line is fully overflowing with drones.
We make put all the hatches back on the regular thing, all gas.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. So 3 base saturation, we're going to take all the gases. Cool. Take all the gases. Remember to over drone there. So yeah, remember what I said there as well about the red numbers on the hatcheries? A lot of people are like, I got 25 drones on my third. Fuck, stop droning. How many drones? But if you've only got 16, sorry, you're a bit quiet. Let me turn you up.
Oh,
what was
sorry,
that?
No, that was me. I moved my mic.
Oh, okay. Yeah, move it back.
When was that point when we were supposed to just like make like 10 overlords or 8 overlords?
So basically, it's just generally you're just scaling your overlord production up. You hit a supply block, so you built like 8. You normally wouldn't be building 8 all at once there. But if you hit a supply block, you've got the money. Like you want to basically, as your mineral lines saturate, you've got such a sick mineral income. We just want to make sure. So in general, always with any build, you always want to scale your overlord production up throughout the game, right? Early on, it's like, I'll build an overlord, build 1 overlord. Yeah. Then it's like, oh, build 2 overlords. With this sort of build, yeah, you're totally happy to build 5, 6 overlords at a time. And if you get to 120 supply, you basically just, let's just build the next 10 overlords at once. Like, so just whatever works for you, come up with your own kind of rule there, but we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
What was I saying? Take all the gases. Don't worry about your drones being oversaturated. Just a little bit of trivia. Guess what? 5 drones get turned into extractors. So you could have 25, even, let's say you have 30 drones. Your main's on 16, your natural's on 16, your third's on 30 drones. Seems like you got more drones than ever. 5 of those turn into extractors. That's 25 drones, okay, on your third. And then you need to put 15 workers on gas. 5 gases being taken at once. So you actually need 20 more workers than what it appears you need before you take your gases. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes sense for sure.
Awesome. Just exaggerating that point, because a lot of the time our brain sees, too many drones on the third, and we think we've made a mistake. We haven't. We're just taking our gas very late, so it's okay to over drone a little bit there.
Okay.
Awesome. This is one of my favorite builds because it just takes your macro to an entirely different level, and it takes your queen usage and your reliance on good creep spread and good queen usage to another level. So it forces you to learn the fundamentals of like really defensive, overwhelming Zerg versus Terran. So it's really cool. I am in channel Pig on NA, user Desert Fox. Please shout out in the chat channel if you can, Baskili. We don't see you in there. So it's a chat channel is where you go click in your chat, not in your groups menu, in your chat, and you go /join space Piggy, Piggy. If that doesn't work, /join space Pig, Pig. So hop in there. Once you're in there, you should see all of us, and there we go. Fantastic. All right. Beautiful. Here we go. Is this build good for someone who's never played 1v1 versus players before? No, Doxler, you want to get on one of my beginner openings. The beginner Zerg opening's great, dude. That's much better. We could totally use that at this level as well if we wanted to. But this build's better. This build's even better. Since we're already in mid-Diamond League, I think this build should be great. Okay, so, okay, awesome. All right, let's try the build one more time. You are not meant to win this game. Even though this guy's 600 MMR lower than you, we are meant to lose this game. We don't care about winning. Remember, the goalposts have changed. What are you focusing on? Memorizing the build, getting your macro down. Are we going to spend our money perfectly? Fuck no, we're going to make a lot of mistakes. But we're going to try and just remember the order. We're just trying to internalize this build. And if he's annoying, try not to get too distracted. He's running around some Hellions, just aim move your defensive queens towards him, go back to macroing. So even if that results in us being an idiot and not noticing a Liberator or some Hellions coming in and killing a lot of drones, it's actually a win if we can force ourselves to just focus on the build order. All right?
Yeah.
Awesome, man. I'll talk you through some of the bits and do some reminders. Other bits I'll kind of just let you go. Good luck, dude.
Thanks.
He's moved really far away from his mic again, so we're going to crank him up. Hopefully he doesn't bust our eardrums by moving right next to it. We have muted him. We're waiting for someone to load. Seems like there we go. We're on Central US. Awesome. So the student I'm coaching is a 4K MMR Zerg player who's not had a lot of game plan. Came into this a little bit unprepared, but thankfully messaged me this morning and was like, hey, what can I do to prepare? And I was like, well, there's lots of information in my initial pamphlet that wasn't my initial coaching package that got sent out that wasn't filled out. So I was like, hey, get on this, dude. Just answer these questions. And he very quickly said to me when we started the coach, he's like, man, I realize I have no game plan when I play. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Like, I just play by feel. And I was like, that's fine. It's a really common thing. Let's check your mechanics. His mechanics were great. He's looking fantastic mechanically. He plays fast. He uses the right techniques, uses control group stealing, uses camera hotkeys. Awesome. So I was like, okay, good. He's got good mechanics, doesn't have a good game plan, feels lost in ZvT, tries different things every single game. His mechanics are stupid, like dude, says Vlogs. Like stupid good, you mean, right? Nice. Yeah, his mechanics are good. Really clean. He's got good mechanics, man. Like, he's not playing super fast, but he's on point. Yeah, it's stupid good. He doesn't have a solid game plan. He's still crushing, says Blocks. Yeah, no, he's doing good, man. He's doing good. All right, guys. So basically, yeah, he's just kind of doing his opening here. Everything looks smooth. We're letting him get in his comfort zone. I'm muted. He can't hear me right now. We've taught him this build. This is one of the best builds you can learn if you want to learn solid Zerg versus Terran. I think there's a lot of players in GM who suck against Terran, who if they spent a couple months, yes, a couple months, I know, a couple hundred ZvTs grinding this build, I think they would become much more well-rounded and better players. Mad Max coaches? Does he though? Word World, does he? So we're coaching on the rule of one gas build. You guys can see it. It's one of my most popular builds of all time. It's a modified version of a build Snoot taught me in... here's an even better article. There you go, guys. Of a build Snoot taught me in Heart of the Swarm when I was really good against Protoss and Zerg, and I was really weak versus Terran. Because I guess I just hadn't engaged enough on the fundamentals, I think. And I was too much of a gimmicky piece of shit. And played against too many Zergs in my region. Not enough of the other races. Let's pull off gas. Doing really good so far. Let's remember to pull off gas.
Pull off gas? Oh, I just
yep.
put it back in for some reason.
Okay, yeah. We're not going to put back on until 3:30. So... And it's always better to put them back on a few seconds late rather than early. No worries.
Okay.
Otherwise, we're doing really good here. Let's build up another Overlord or two and keep these drones going. Now, just to get in the habit, I want you to grab that Overlord going across the map and just click it in through his main base, just as a sacrifice. We're not even going to bother looking at it, but it's just good to have it there. Now we can put back on gas and we can start that queen production. Beautiful. Non-stop queens from here. Yeah, and let's fix up that worker saturation, rally everything down to the third. We're looking great. Yep, start a queen on the third as well. Fantastic. And let's start building a few more Zerglings. So about 10 more Zerglings just to make sure we can wrap anything up. And let's remember to keep pumping Overlords as well. This is a really nice build. Let's also spread your Overlords out front so we can see Hellions coming in future. And let's get all those queens to the front. So if you have to, if you're ever under threat, you can always pull your injecting queens to the front and just throw them all up there, throw them all into the hotkey. The new queens that you build will replace them. Let's just A-move our lings at this. And let's keep droning, injecting, and building more queens and spreading creep. So don't let him distract you. Yeah. Keep injecting. Very nice. You're doing good. So keep droning for a little bit longer and building a lot more overlords. And rebuild the Zerglings. So if you ever lose your Zergling net, you're vulnerable to more Hellion run-bys. So let's build a few more Zerglings. Spread these overlords around your bases. Remember, we need them out front. So we have a full screen and beyond of vision out front our base. And then we can go, okay, deep breath. We've stabilized. We've got the work account. You know what to do. It's gas time. This is how you macro, mother truckers. Let's drop that 4th base and that macro hatch. Remember, that's real important. Get those up real early. And then we can go for all the gases as well. So you're doing real good. 4th base and macro hatch is really important. And remember, when we go lair, it's also double Evo chamber, Baneling nest as well. And we really want to get that 4th base. So if we don't feel safe to take it up top, we can take it down the bottom, that's fine. But we've got to take that 4th base on location as early as possible. He ain't taking no 4th base. There we go. Remember the Baneling nest as well? Normally it's lair, evolution chambers, Baneling nest, all chained together. So we always do those at the same time to make sure we don't forget any of them. For those of you guys watching at home, remember to chain actions together. Things are meant to happen at the same time. Chain them together so that one thing reminds you of the other. Link it all up. Link it all up. So he's got a sick work account. Awesome. So remember, from here, we just need to... Oh, let's deal with the lib in the main. So build a spore immediately. We've also got to lib at our 3rd. So whenever you see libs, the first thing you do is build a spore, pull drones, and then react with your queens. So we should build a spore at each base and try to react as best we can. So he's at the point where I really needed to get him to focus on creep spread build units. Creep spread build units. Creep spread build units. Add Baneling speed, creep spread build units. Add 2/2, creep spread build units. This is a really nice little double live move from our opponent, but it won't get him back in the game. Look at the supply. Luca D. It is mech though, so that is a thing. Oh my god, syncopation! Holy shit, thank you so much for that huge wave of support. Thank you. Thank you. Let's make some Banelings and drop a Hydra in. Get your queens over here. So whenever you see Hellions coming, your default should be send those creep queens to deal with it. Get those Lings ready to flank. You're going to have to surround this. If you can easily crush those Hellions if you just send your Lings from behind. Yeah. Yeah, he's too deep. So you can just A-move that and go back to doing other things potentially. He did micro. We didn't get us around, so that's fine. Pull back, wait for your queens to deal with it. And we need to focus on re-droning. So we need to re-drone our bases, put guys back on gas, that sort of stuff. And we need to get into Hydras because Hydra, Ling Bane, is going to be our answer to mech in this game. Let's get ranged upgrades as well as melee upgrades at level 2. That's our anti-mech comp. Always we want to prioritize the attack upgrades. And we should be doing really good. So... focus on just getting that economy back under you. Getting both Hydra upgrades. Get the extra upgrades on the Evos. And let's remember to just mass Hydras from here. We want to get range upgrades rather than Carapace so that our Hydras do more damage. Yep. And we want to spread creep. so important to spread creep. In between all your actions, as you get better at this build,
yes.
you're going to spread
Oh
creep.
my-
And
oh
that
my
shouldn't
God.
be spreading creep with the queens unless we've lost the creep tumors there. Once you've got enough tumors on the map, we'll do that. Where we'll just kind of spread the tumors every 30 seconds, and we'll just keep doing that over and over again. You're doing great. Keep it up. Just mass Hydraling Bane will win the game for him. He really needs to get Bane speed. There we go. He built a spore. That was good. Desert Fox. YOLO Lord. Holy shit. So many Terran players play these just like absolutely insane styles, man. You got to re-drone immediately. So whenever you take a hit like that, really just got to drone crazy hard. And let's see if we can deal with these libs with the spores. So we want you to build about 30 more drones and keep spreading creep and re-spreading creep whenever you can. Got to get rid of those libs. Move that spore crawler down. Always move the spore crawler down. Keep droning. Got to hold down that drone key. And then we're just going to max on Hydra Bane. And we're going to, we've got to just spread creep and reassert map control. So we've got to keep spreading these tumors, get them back on the north side. We've got to put Ling spotters at all of our opponent's expansions. And kind of see, hey, where are we in this game? Is our opponent on 2 base, 3 base, 4 base, 5 base, 6 base? We've got to figure that out. And because we've got such a big army, we can go out on the map and assert ourselves. We can start, once we get a little bit of map vision, a bit more creep spread, we can get out there. We can see if we can take a fight. We don't want to headbutt. We want to scout ahead and stuff. But let's see what we can do. You can weather some punches and still be in such a good position with this build. So let's go for it. More Banelings, and Baneling speed still has not been made. So let's really focus on that. And drop an infestation pit in a little while, but for now, let's see what you can do. So this was the YOLO of all YOLOs. He had no idea what was here. 0 scouting ahead. Does end up getting a nice snipe. If he keeps going in, that's absolute insanity. Thank God he doesn't. Take 2 more bases. This is a mech game, so keep spreading creep. Keep taking bases. Your bases are going to be mining out real soon. In fact, they already are starting to. Keep spreading creep. Keep denying bases. Now, could he have just won there? Yes, but he did not know that. That is why we are not getting him to finish the game, guys. It's more important to focus on practicing these things. And he is kicking some ass. He's kicking some ass. Thank you so much, Syncopation. Holy shit, dude. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, we're so close. So close to the newbie stream. The Terran's a bit lower MMR. He's about 3,400, so he's about 600 MMR lower. Oops. Let's get out of there. You just saw his whole army was kind of out of position, so let's keep splitting up units on the map to make sure he's not taking bases. And keep making tons of, you've got a gigantic army, so if you can find an angle to engage him where he's not like fully sieged up in a defensive spot, that's going to be amazing. So you want to keep looking for trades with that, and you should have a Spire behind this, because what's Hive Tech for? 2 things, Vipers and Broodlords. That's all you want, so make sure you have a Spire, and let's look for a fight. If you can set up a big surround with Hydra Bane, it's devastating. So he's going to roll in there. He doesn't really have enough Banes to kill this planetary. Bit of a YOLO. Remax on Banelings, you're building too many Hydras. Above about 30 Hydras is the absolute max. You're already on 40, you're going up to 47. So Banelings are the best supply efficient unit. Even against mech, they will cleave Hellions, they'll kill tanks, they'll kill Widowmines, Thors. If you can have 100 Banelings, it only uses up 50 supply. Just ran into 4 Widowmines, which is painful. Keep those units on those bases. There's no reason why we should be letting him expand at all. And let's make a ton more Banelings. Let's look for an engage. I would have gone for it. He's going Liberators, so we want Vipers for Parasitic Bomb, but most importantly, we want to either dive for a counterattack or dive on this army. We've got to be decisive. Yeah, he could slow that army down a long time. So I'm gonna let him handle it now. For some reason I just told him to be decisive, one or the other, and he's pulling home now. Oh no. Box, click, box, click, A move from 2 angles at once. These units are not sieged up together. They are not in position. Is he going to take care of it? Yeah, looks like he will. Took him a while, though. Took him a while. Whew, he got it. He got it. No. Yeah. Gee, good job, man. Good job. We saw the power there of +3 armor versus only +1 Hydra attack. That shit should have died so much faster. Holy crap. +3 armor is a good upgrade. But we crushed it nonetheless. Really well done, dude. And just finding the right engages with Hydra Bane we see here is 1,000 times more important than using Vipers and Broodlords and stuff properly. If we can just spread creep, find the right angle, this army fucking wrecks, man. It's such a good army for such a long time. So as much as we should add Vipers and Broods normally, it's more important to take the right engagement with the Hydra Bane. You did that a few times. You took some really good kind of ambushes, some good spreads on his army. So yeah, let's just close it out whenever you're ready. Just make a big ass round of Banelings and go finish him. Oh, we have been falling behind on taking bases, actually. So that is a good point. So you haven't really been establishing these new bases. You haven't transferred workers from your natural. And we haven't been taking gases. So that is definitely a problem. Whenever you win a fight, rather than thinking, oh, I got to stare at my army, think, fix me macro, take more bases, spread creep. And if you can do that and then go back to focusing on harassment and attacks and denying bases, you'll do really well. So you see this attack, there's not a lot of Banelings in it, and he's kind of doing this like half-baked attack. It's going to work, he's way ahead. But it was like, where is the army? The army is like not even on this side of the map. He attacked with like 1/4 of his army there. It happens. Nice! GG! So Desert Fox is doing the thing that a lot of people do when they want to help us out, where they don't leave the game. Yep. They're like, should I leave? I was like, yes, it's over. You can leave. But fantastic practice there. Desert Fox did some fucking annoying Liberator Hellion harassment, but otherwise didn't have great macro behind it. So we were able to get totally thrown into this shit city, where it's like, oh, god damn it, I'm trying to just remember this brand new build I've just learned. And that's great, because I want you to spend more games on your own practicing this just chilled in custom games. Do that for a few more, like once or twice every day for the next couple of days, and focus on just getting more comfortable with it, and it'll become more automatic. And, you know, things will, like that game, for instance, your queens were a little bit late initially, and we didn't have overlords outside our base. So the Hellions came and killed a queen, almost killed another queen, started running around our third. And from there, like that's already, those are the sort of things, and when that happens in your ladder games, go, ooh, why did that happen? Oh, I didn't have my overlords to see them coming. And, oh, I didn't bring my queens down to the front as soon as they popped. Oh, so I had one queen on its own. Likewise, if you're just playing someone who has Hellions out there really early, and you're like, oh shit, I've only got one queen, my other queen's on it, don't be worried to just pull those injecting queens. Anytime something feels like it's a little bit too much pressure, just grab those queens. You can let the new queens that pop out replace them as the injecting queens. So don't be afraid to kind of swap the role of those queens in the early game if you're ever making mistakes, or you're like, oh god, this is a bit scary. Feel free to just change the role of those queens, and being able to do that helps you kind of flexibly adapt.
Okay. How do I know, like, if I should attack their bases or their army? Like, I had no idea if I should attack his army. Is it just based on position? Like, if he's, like, sieged, don't attack, and if he's just kind of wandering around, just try to get him?
Yeah, generally, if you can catch him unsieged, sure. If you think your army's way bigger, and you just think now's a good time to fight, then as long as you're coming in from 2 angles, as long as you're a bit spread and you're not just coming in from one ball squeezed between a bit of terrain, right? I mean, so it's...
Just let the Banes hit. It doesn't... Like, I always try to avoid...
So you want to put your Banelings on a separate control group and kind of click them to the center of their army, and especially the center of any masses of Hellbats or Hellions. Okay. He had lots of Widowmines and Hellions, so Banelings are great against that. Obviously, they're not amazing versus tanks and Thors, but you have them there to get rid of the Hellbats. Otherwise, a wave of Hellbats in front with tanks behind it will ruin Hydras, will ruin Zerglings, will ruin Roaches. But you add the Banelings, and especially if you catch them unsieged, often their saving grace is the Hellbats. You catch them unsieged, but it doesn't matter. The Hellbats protect them for long enough for the tanks to siege and rain down doom. Guess
Okay.
what? Banelings are instant detonation. You catch their army on siege, they lose everything and they kill nothing. Because your Banelings just eradicate all the Hellbats, your Hydras kill everything else. So it's just about, having that kind of mix there. Generally, if they're in a beautiful sieged up, 25 siege tanks all sieged in a nice spread, probably not a good idea to attack it. But why don't you have Broodlords or Vipers for Blinding Cloud at that point? You done goofed, right? So every
what
game's
should
a
I
little
do
bit
with my-
different. Yeah.
Sorry, I noticed that sometimes I forget to like I don't understand. Well, like I don't know how to trade out my army. Like say I get stuck where I can't attack, and I'll have like all these Hydras and Lings, and I need Broods. Like, and I feel like I can't even like attack anywhere without just throwing an army away. Would you just recommend just throwing the army away, like part of it?
Yeah,
And just-
absolutely. I mean, sometimes you'll even just kill your own Hydras,
Okay.
or like just you're like, oh, I've got a crazy mineral bank and 85 workers. Let's just build like 10 spine crawlers across my bases and spores because I might need those anyway, and that frees up enough supply to make I make 5 corruptors now. Awesome, turn those into broods.
Okay.
But generally speaking, you should be. There should always be a way to just throw counterattacks in and that sort of thing. And if you're getting your tech earlier and faster and you're more planned out with, oh, what's the next step? Am I preparing for the next step always? You'll find you very rarely hit that point where if you're like, oh, I need supply for broods, like, well, you should already have like creep all over the map and, oh, he pushes out and you just collapse in on him from 3 sides or half your army. Like you were doing a good job. You split half your army to hit one base on the bottom, half to go hit the north, like cool things like that. So you were doing a pretty all right job with it. Just don't get too afraid. And if you do feel like, nah, let's just kill some units. I need to make these corruptors and broods right now. Just go for it. Just kill a bunch of your own Hydras. That's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
You did really good under pressure there, by the way. I just want to compliment that for staying cool because you did a lot of things that could have very easily just made your brain kind of fall to pieces. So good job keeping it cool.
Thank you. My brain kind of went numb. I don't know. How do you hit those Liberators when they're that far? Like, what am I supposed? Is it the spore?
You were just a bit slow to get your spores up, and he was doing weird like double lib. This was expensive. So anytime you're playing against a Hellion opening, unless you know there's no starport, you just assume there's a starport, and at 4 minutes 30, you build a spore in each base.
Okay, yeah.
Now you could do that a bit later. We're going to say in your notes 445 spore in each base versus any Hellion opening, and that defends Banshees, it defends libs, and it helps a lot against BCs as well.
Okay, so if they open Marines, I don't have to do that?
Yeah, if they're doing like a 2-on-1 build where they're going to be going for the double stim medevac drop, there's no reason for spore crawlers. So that's just against the Hellion openings because they almost always are joined by like a Liberator or a Raven or a Banshee or a BC.
Okay, and can I still do the same build if they're open in 2-on-1 and just overwhelm with Lings and Banes?
Yeah. And your queens and Zerglings, you don't even need Banelings.
Okay. Oh,
Like,
nice.
yeah. Basically, this build became so popular as a way of shutting down 2-on-1. I remember back in 2016 when Beyond was kind of making that such a popular style and he was murdering with it. He was doing so good. And I remember like Scarlet, I was like, oh yeah, like, how do you feel about the 2-on-1? Like, is this too strong? Like, Terrans just keep doing the same thing over and over. And she was like, she's like, that rule of 1 gas guide on Team Liquid that you have? She's like, I do that. She's like, yeah, I've been doing that since forever. Like, you happen to write a guide, which is basically the same thing. And then I watched her like a few days later and she built like 60 drones before building any units. And I was like, okay, you're a bit crazy, Scarlet. That's actually insane. And like the medevacs come in, 8 queens are in a row. They shoot down in medevac, 30 Lings wrap around the Marines. And she like just shut Beyond out of this game so hard. I remember it was on Frozen Temple, which was a pretty terrible map for Zerg as well. And that was like the ultimate hard counter. And then after that, we started seeing this interesting meta shift where Dark, all the Koreans started doing the same thing. Just no Baneling Nest, later upgrades, but you'd have this insane economy advantage. And the Terran's third CC is so late. And there was this cool adjustment where the Terran, after building the 2 medevacs, they'd swap their starport off the reactor. The factory would go back on it, and they'd build Hellions and an armory. So they'd actually hit with like a 3rd medevac of Marines, combat shields, and 6 Hellbats with it. And you'd see these Zerg players who are doing the ultimate. They're like, I'm at 70 workers. I got my 1-1. My Baneling Nest's almost finished. My Lair's almost finished. I got 8 queens, 60 Zerglings. And then it's like, oh, they've got some Hellbats. And it was like the Hellbats, every Hellbat would get like 30 Zergling kills and the Zerg would just die. Then Zerg said, okay, we'll mix in a Baneling Nest again. We'll make sure we do that so we can't, add a few Banelings. We're fine. Beyond got so good at focus firing the Banelings, he would not let the Banelings connect and he'd still win with the same build. So it was like this interesting meta shift there. But classically, we think of this as the best way to deal with any marine drop opening because you just have so many queens and lings, and marines medevacs don't really have any way to deal with that as long as you don't chase them off creep a few zerglings at a time. If you wait for them to engage your queens, and then if they come forward into queen range, your lings engage only then, and your queens focus the medevacs, and they get wrecked. If you run off creep and you fight separately, lings and queens, they can stutter step and take out all your stuff. But as long as you just stay back on creep, you'll be fine.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Oh, that's a lot of good notes. That's a beautiful build order. Exercise. Choose your composition. So besides practicing this, homework. Choose your composition and start defining your style a bit more in ZvP and ZvZ, right? Doesn't have to be as defined as this build order here, but at the very least, be like, all right, this is my standard composition. This is my opening, and really just like nail it down a little bit more. And we can start kind of deciding, what you want to do with that. We can also, of course, practice rule of one gas in empty customs a few times a day to get used to it. Watch replays of your ladder games and focus on basic, on build execution, but also little things like OVs in position around your base, spores on time, etc. Queen defense, all the little. Just focus on those basics whenever especially when you lose a game, and look for the little things to improve.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, awesome. So try to write up some notes on ZvP and ZvZ. If we end up doing another session, we can kind of work on those. And should be good. Any last questions before we finish up?
Yeah. Just last thing. When I have like a maxed army, or like not maxed, how do I decide whether to go for Vipers or just switch right into Broodlords when I have like the Ling Hydra?
I mean, against Mech, I really like to add a few Vipers and then go Broods. Against Protoss, they've usually got feedback, so I would just always go straight to Broodlords by default.
Okay.
So yeah, generally it's just whatever you prefer as your choice in that matchup, right? So like you could probably just go straight to Broodlords every game, and that would be a totally fine thing. There's GM Zergs who've never built a spellcaster in their entire life. High GM Zergs who just go to Broodlords, hit a fierce attack timing with it, and it's not a bad way to play.
Okay, cool.
Awesome, man. All right. Any other questions? Or are we good?
I think I'm good. Thanks,
awesome sauce, man. All right, sweet as. Yeah. I look forward to hearing how you're going. Whether or not we do another coaching session, up to you. Just shoot me an email. And either way, I'd love to hear your progress. So hit us up in Twitch chat if we don't end up doing another coaching session. Let us know how it goes.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Awesome, man. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. See ya.
Laters.